So today I'm going to talk about restaurants. This is a topic that I could talk about all day because I love eating out. So let's talk specifically about American restaurants. We, we could probably classify American restaurants into several different categories. There are fast food restaurants like your typical burger joints like McDonald's, Burger King, Jack in the Box. This would obviously be considered the lowest class restaurants. Then there are normal average restaurants that are chains or franchises. These places usually have locations all over the country as well as multiple locations in the same city. Then you've got your normal average restaurants that are individually or family owned. In the US, we sometimes call family owned businesses ma and pa businesses, so some of the restaurants in these categories could be called ma and pa restaurants. Then you've got your high-end restaurants which could be considered fine dining. This can be really fancy and expensive, and if they're really highly acclaimed, they might even have a Michelin star or two. Needless, needless to say, most people can't afford to eat at these restaurants too often. One other type of restaurant that distinctly American is called a diner. Diners are restaurants that sell typical American food like American breakfast food, burgers, sandwiches, steaks. A lot of diners sell breakfast all day, so you can order eggs, sausages, and pancakes at 9 p.m. if you want. I've always loved diners because they have a really American feel to them. Whenever I go on a road trip, I always look forward to stopping in the middle of nowhere at one of these classic American diners. You can always find diners off the highway in the middle of nowhere. Alright, now let's talk about tipping in the US. This is a this is something that all foreigners need to know because it's a custom that's different in the US than it is in other countries. When you eat at the sit-down restaurants in the US, you're expected to give a tip for the service you receive. There are no exceptions here. Even though it's not mandated by law, it's an unspoken rule that all Americans abide by. You have to tip your waiter whether you feel like it or not. So now you might be wondering how much you have to tip. Well, until recently, 15% has been the standard tips at most restaurants, but in the past few years, they've been trying to raise this. Nowadays, many restaurants expect 18 or more, which I think is ludicrous. I always give 15% no matter what, and this is still acceptable, but there's definitely a visible effort on the part of restaurants to raise this percentage. So be aware of this if you're traveling to the US anytime soon. Lastly, let's talk about the common expressions you use in the restaurant's environment. When you first enter the restaurant and talk to the host, you normally say how many people there are in your party. So you can say we have a table for two, please? And to order food, you can say a few different things. You could say I'll have the cheeseburger, I'll take the cheeseburger, or can I have the cheeseburger? You can use any one of these phrases and just substitute the word cheeseburger for or whatever dish you're ordering. If you want to ask the waiter for something else after you already ordered, you can just use the phrase could I have? So for example, you can say could I have another glass of water please? And one more note, in the US, you don't ask for the check when you're done eating. The waiter brings it to you without you asking. I know this might seem weird, but it's the custom.